T-Soft shoots it, deflected right in. Pietrangelo save rebound. Stastny stopped by Pietrangelo. I don't believe that save. Neither does Peter Stastny. He can't believe the save that Pietrangelo just made on him as Frankie Sparkly. Now that maneuver there to stop and rob Peter Stastny. He should get 5 to 10 for that.
Hello and welcome to episode 37 of Tendy Talk, presented by the BLPA Podcast Network. This week I chat with former St. Mary's University of Minnesota men's hockey teammate Alum Knowles. Al and I hadn't seen each other since graduation in 2003. Then a few weeks ago we got back on the ice together for a pickup skate. I can say that like my play, Al's hasn't changed one bit. We're just a little bit slower due to our older age. Without further ado, let's get to the conversation. Al, thanks for joining me on the podcast. Happy to have you. Somebody I've wanted to have on once I started it, so I'm happy we finally got calendars aligned.
Definitely. Yeah, sorry, we've been kind of going back and forth there, but finally the stars aligned and definitely happy to be here.
Yeah, it's funny. I had Richie on, I think it was episode 2 or 3, and
Yes.
I said we're gonna, and then I had Donnie on after that. I told him we're gonna have to kind of have a St. Mary's goalie roundtable and maybe have Hopper moderate it, since he had the mentality of a goalie. He just didn't play goalie.
Oh, I love Aaron Hopper. Yes.
Yeah, I saw him about 2-3 years ago at the Super Rink. So.
Yeah, is he living up in Duluth or is he living down here?
I believe he's up in Duluth, but he's doing some coaching stuff with USA Hockey that brings him down to the cities.
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah, I follow him on Facebook and Instagram and stuff, and I have seen, is he coaching girls hockey?
I think so. Yeah. So he and I were having an exchange about a year or two ago, and he sends me a message and he goes, "You're never going to guess who my assistant coach is." And I go, I don't know who. He goes, "Coach Olson."
Oh my God. Adios.
Yeah. He said, they were just up there, and I don't know how it worked out, but Coach O was his assistant coach. He said it was really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Small world. Yeah. He went up to Scholastica right after his long tenure at St. Mary's. Well, how many years was he coaching there?
Oh, it was probably close to 30.
Yeah, that was very impressive.
I mean, he started with the outdoor rink, moved on to the bubble, and then to the indoor rink.
Yep.
It
was, having the rink on campus like that, it was, one of the main reasons to go to St. Mary's, wasn't it? I mean, just the access to ice all the time.
Yeah, I was going to say, not only having it on campus, but like Augsburg's got one on campus, even Gustavus has one on campus, but they share it with the community. And for us, it was just us. In the off season, they would sometimes rent ice out to, Winona Youth Hockey or the high school team, but during the season, it was just us.
Yeah, I absolutely love being able to skate basically anytime we could. Yeah,
go over the lunch break, play some rebound with the boys, and then go to class.
Oh, man. Yes.
Yeah, I love it. Well, and I even had keys to the rink as a Zamboni driver, so.
Oh, that's right. You know what? That's something I've always wanted to do, is drive the Zamboni. I don't know. Is it tough? It was ours electric or was it gas?
Yeah. When we got there, we had the old propane one that had rust holes in it, and it didn't even have a board brush. But then we got the new electric one. It's not that hard. It's like the first time or two are scary because it's like, oh my God, what am I doing? But after that, it's pretty fun. Do you remember when I would do the ice between the JV practice and the women's practice?
Yes.
I had to rush off. And I'm out there with freezers and chest protector on, driving that thing around.
That was, dude, you literally were the program. You did everything, man.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the questions I had for Donnie when I had him on. So our freshman year, we had 26, if I remember right, goalies trying out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember, talking to Terry.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, yeah, you should come down. And I'm like, oh, awesome. St. Mary's.
Yeah.
And then, getting down there and seeing the amount of goalies on that first day, I was like,
I I mean,
I should have made a mistake here. What's going on? But
there were.
I was in absolute shock. I've never been a part of something that I guess that big growing up in small town Hermantown. You know?
And I remember the first captain's practices with all those goalies, and there were only about 2 in that group that shouldn't have been out there. The rest, I mean, there was some good competition for goaltending, and
there was actually. I mean, what I think you said 20. Well, I don't think you're joking.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty much what it was. You didn't get that many shots in the tryout. Because you're constantly going through, shuffling through the guys. Well, so it was hard to, kind of get yourself to stand out,
Yeah, and we have 26 goalies trying out for 6 positions, but really there were only 2 open spots. And
because I mean, when we got there, Fred Hennon, right, was a senior.
Well, you had Freddie, you had Richie, Byron, and Danny. Frischman.
Yep.
Yeah, you had those 4. So it was, 2 open spots that you and I got. And I remember asking Donnie when I had him on the podcast, I was like, Donnie, 26 goalies. Yeah. And I was clearly the last selection. Like, what the heck were you guys, what did you see in me? What were you thinking? And he said almost what you said, like, I was the program. He said it was more than just what I was doing on the ice. It was, I was.
You know what it was, Joe? I mean, honestly, what it was to me with you is your love for hockey, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I love hockey, and I know other guys that love hockey, but dude, your love for hockey, it just runs all the way through you, man.
Well, and I think that working that hockey camp coming into freshman year is what got me on that team, because they saw that I was the locker room guy, fastest scorer in the MIAC for 4 years.
Oh, but that's the thing, Joe. I mean, you played 4 years of college hockey after high school.
Jimmy Police is the one that always says.
People can't say that, man. A lot of people can't say that.
No, and I know some people are like, oh, well, you only played JV, and it's like, but I still played. I was still in the program.
You got to lace my. I mean, and that's the thing now, Joe. You look back, and I mean, being old men now playing beer league hockey. I mean, that's the one thing that you just miss is the competition. Well, and you were still able to compete. I mean, those were still games that people were trying to win. It's just that's what I miss the most, at least. I don't know.
I miss the competition in practice.
Yeah.
The games were fun, but it's the competition in practice. Picking on different guys before you go out on the ice, and then they're coming down like, oh, I'm gonna get you now, and those are the ones. The one thing I don't miss is Dustin Noble after practice, because he was naked guy. He would come stand over the laundry bench, just like everything all out there. Hey guys, we're going to practice today.
Oh God.
Yes. Just some of the locker room stuff. Was it you the after or during intermission, the one game, Manor comes busting into the locker room. He's like, I know you got you in your locker, and you're like, oh shit. And he's like, give me something, because he had tried quitting and was just jonesing for it. And you're like, not supposed to have it, but here you go.
I was like, I'm not sure what to say here, but here you go.
So when Terry was recruiting you, did he tell you anything about the 6-minute mile run on October 1st?
No. And nothing about that. But I still think, with the 6-minute mile run, it's, at the time I thought it was very unnecessary, but now being an older guy, looking back, it's kind of necessary, because you need to train in the summer. And that's really the only way you're going to do that, unless you're like a Colin Emmons, who's going to run a 5-minute mile, which is ridiculous. And I remember Terry telling me, she's like, just try to keep up with Emmons. Yeah. I'm like, if I do that, I'm going to have a heart attack.
After the second of what was 8 laps around that indoor track, I'll be dead. Well,
God.
I think my freshman year, I did it in 5:15 and like collapsed. And then I learned
5:15. Yeah, I guess you had long legs too.
And then, but I don't like to run. And then I
me and running do not mix well.
Yeah, and then I learned that Scotty Becker ran track, and I was always in the same group as him because of the last names. And so he's like, yeah, I'm just going to pace myself, so keep up with me. And so for 3 years straight, I came in at 5:59.
Hey, but under 6, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I owe it.
You know what the worst part about that, Joe, was if you didn't make the 6-minute mark, you had to constantly do it, before the dry land training.
Every day, though, right?
This? I would run that 6-minute mile, try to run it, and then have to do the entire dry land training after just gas. Yeah. I was like, oh man.
And I mean,
you got to do it.
We were into the season before you finally got it too. I remember it was a couple weeks.
I think it was literally the week before. And I didn't even, to be honest with you, I didn't even run it. He made me do it on a bike, which I don't even know if I did on the bike either, but he said I did. But I was like,
I remember Reska saying, if you have a knee injury, run it because the bike is harder.
Yeah, the bike's literally, it's no joke. I mean, because you're going all out for 6 minutes. I mean, just imagine all out going as fast as you can for 6 minutes. If
I remember on the bike, you had to keep the RPMs above a certain speed the entire time. And as soon as you dipped below, you were done. That's why Resko is like, no, at least when you're running, you can kind of slow down a little bit.
It's no joke. But then I've talked to other guys. Like, I thought it was just the St. Mary's thing, and I've talked to other guys.
Yeah, it was like a MIAC thing.
D1 through D3, a lot of schools had that same requirement. And I guarantee it's just to make sure the guys are actually doing, what they're supposed to be doing in the summer.
Yeah. Well,
and when you're talking about 18 to 20-year-old kids,
well, you look at what kids have access to today, and if we had half of that stuff, how much better of a goaltender would we have been?
I mean, are you just talking about the training that they have now and the equipment?
Access to, information, videos.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've spent nights on YouTube, and it's amazing. Like, just all the instructional video that's out there. Yep. I mean, you can have live feeds. And actually, this is something that I've thought of personally is like having some sort of helmet cam on the goalie where you could physically take visual shots.
Have you seen?
I'm not sure if this makes any sense, but like before the game to like physically see the puck coming in like that.
The Sensorina, it's a program through the Oculus, that virtual reality thing. That's exactly what it is. So you can do.
Oh, really? So they already have this.
Yeah.
I didn't know this. Okay.
Some NHL teams are actually using it with their goalies for pregame stuff where they throw the Oculus on. Now they can, watch the puck and watch it into their gloves.
Yeah. Because I mean, this is gonna sound stupid, but sometimes before I play, like I will literally watch some guy's YouTube channel that just has like the GoPro from the back of the net kind of perched up.
Yeah, so you're not watching
seeing the shots. Yeah, but just seeing the shots come in. I don't know. For me, it just kind of, it's like a mental warm up, I guess. I don't know if that.
No, I get that, because that was the one of the things I loved the most about college hockey is, we picked our 2 shooters to shoot at us in that early part. And to me, that's all the warm up I needed. I would get in the, line rushes and everything, but it was, give me those 5 minutes. And I always picked, Becker was one of them. And I forget who I usually.
Yeah, because Becker wouldn't hit you in the head.
Right.
The last guy I'd be picking, sorry if you're listening to this, Nick Meeker.
And Joe Duda.
Oh, yeah. Nick Meeker, I mean, I've never been hit in the head as hard ever in my life as he did in practice. So literally, you know what it's like, Joe, when you get your new helmet.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it was my sophomore year. I just got my brand new equipment, brand new iTech helmet. And it was like second or third warm-up shot. Nick Meeker comes down right in the slot. It takes a slap shot.
Oh, yeah.
This thing hit me so far, like right right here in the head.
Yep.
And next thing I remember is, I think it was Mira, or I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. The trainer.
Oh,
girl.
Myra. Yeah.
Myra. Yeah. All I remember is her waking up in the penalty box. She's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, what just happened?
Do you remember my concussion freshman year when I got ran?
Yes, dude. Oh my
The
God.
one game, nobody's mom or dad was there videotaping the game because
Dude.
I hear it was, I remember Jeff Rose telling me, he's like, dude, you were parallel with the ice, facing down, and your body went like this, and then head came down. I was like, oh. And our trainers were not quality at the time down there because of the delayed whistle. I was just lying there until I heard right, exactly. But I was just lying there, and then I heard the whistle, and then I got up. So they never came out to check on me. So if you remember, I was holding on to the crossbar to finish the game, making saves. We were playing one of those junior B teams, so we pretty much had the game in hand.
Oh, you know what? Some of those were some of the roughest games, man. Playing those junior teams.
I remember.
Who was the guy? Was it? I can't remember the kid's name, but during one of those games, it was our freshman year, he just got wrecked. But then he ended up coming down to St. Mary's.
Yeah, Bresnahan. No, I remember that because he got hit and his helmet came up in the back and his head came into the dashboard, and he just started they took him out into the snow to stop.
Dude, that was scary. Yeah, I remember that.
And I forget who hit him, but they wound up becoming like great friends afterwards.
Yeah, I remember. He was cool.
Yeah, Bresnahan was an interesting fella. I still remember, from what I remember of that game, is we always had that box of fruit in the locker room afterwards. And I hate.
What was that? Sorry. What did you say?
We always had that box of fruit in the locker room after a game.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was halfway through an apple when I'm like, I don't like apples. Like, what am I doing? And I just started looking up. It's like, did I get hit in the game? And they're like, you got rocked. So I just had my bottoms on, and I walked down to the trainer's room, and they're like, what are you doing here? It's like, I was told I got hit. And they're like, oh, you got. So, and varsity was willing enough to go to Hamlin for a game.
Yeah.
And, so they're doing the test, and she's like, you got a concussion. You have anybody that can watch you back into the dorm? I was like, I don't know, probably. And Terry's standing there. He's like, Bondo, go shower up. You're coming with us. And poor Trotch was a healthy scratch that night, but still making the trip. So I had to sit next to him on the bus, and every little bump or whatnot, I was feeling nauseous. He's like, oh God, this kid's going to puke all over me.
Yeah. Trotch, man. I
ran into him.
I remember the first time, like, talking to him and thinking, oh, what a sweet last name.
Yeah.
Like, dude. And then I asked him, I'm like, dude, do you know Brian Trottier? He's like, well, yeah, that's my dad. And I was like, no way. Like, because I was like, there's like, how? How could this kid come to St. Mary's?
Yeah. I ran into him about 2 years ago. My boy was playing baseball. We were in the Edina tournament, and we're playing Edina, and there's this number 19 on Edina with the last name Trottier. I went, really? Yeah. And so I looked down the third baseline, and there's Trotch and Joey standing there with their other two little kids. So I went up to him after the game and said hi. And but it was just funny. I was like, of course your kid's going to wear 19.
Yeah. Just one of the most humble, coolest kids ever. And his dad is just an uber legend in hockey, And I remember seeing him at the rink, just being like, oh my God, like starstruck, basically, because I grew up, these guys were idols. Yeah. That Islanders team, unbelievable. Billy Smith, I think I did 6th or 7th grade, like huge report just on Billy Smith.
I was in Terry's office during tryout sophomore year. It was that 2 weeks of dryland, and we always had Saturday, Sunday dryland. And I go into his office. I was like, I got to miss, dryland this weekend. I understand his tryouts. And he's like, well, what's your reasoning? And I go, my cousin's getting married, and my mom and dad say I have to go home for it. And he's like, okay, good excuse. And Trotch is there, and he's like, Yeah, that's kind of why I'm here. I have to miss tryouts this weekend too. And Terry's like, "What? You got a cousin getting married too?" He's like, "No, the Islanders want to retire my dad's number or something, and I guess I got to be there." And we're like, "Oh, okay. I don't know if that's a good reason."
Yeah. Oh my God. It's just, and he had so many crazy stories, like playing hand hockey with Kelly Rudy. I'm just like, what?
Yeah, well, and his stories of Yager coming home with his dad to play, NHL '94, and he always had he's like, he always had to be the Penguin so he could be himself.
A different environment than I did.
But he would tell these stories as if like all of us had.
Yeah, I have some hard feelings about that 91's Penguins team.
Yeah,
when they played the Stars.
Yeah,
well, still bitter about it, but
I'm so bitter about the '92 team when they played the Hawks.
Yeah, they were good. Tom Barrasso too. Was Tom Barrasso? Was he U.S.?
Yeah, he's U.S. born.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I want to get into some of the stuff I typically talk about. So you start playing hockey because you're from Minnesota, from the Iron Range, but if I remember right, you're Korean born and you were adopted. Yes. So let's start there. Like,
why basically, so this is how I even got into hockey.
Yeah.
Is my mom just kind of was like, "Hey, did you want to try to play hockey? Meet some friends?" And I was like, "Oh, sure, whatever." So I'll never forget this. I went to my first, it wasn't even a tryout. It was just like a skate before the tryout.
Yeah.
So we always had like 2 or 3 skates, and then you actually had the physical tryout.
And what age is this?
Oh, this was squirts. So how old are squirts?
Yeah, well, that's about when I started skating. So that's probably like 4th, 5th grade.
Yeah. And so I started late though. So I came in, it was like the second to last year of squirts or something like that. So all my buddies and stuff, they had already had a year above me skating. Yeah. So I had no idea about hockey, never skated in my life. How did you? That's how I got put back in the net, because the coach was like, "Hey, you should try goalie then, because you don't really have to skate around. You just got to stop the puck." And I was like, "Oh, I can definitely do that." And so I remember getting on the ice, and I just was able to skate towards the net. I don't know. I don't ever really remember not being able to skate, which is something weird. But I guarantee there was a time where I could not skate. So let me ask this. You're growing up in Hermantown, but not knowing about hockey? Yeah, I didn't, because I mean, the people that I was growing up with at the time, nobody in that area really played hockey, except for one of my mom's friends. Was a hockey coach for a team in Duluth. And I think he was one of the ones that was kind of maybe pushing my mom to be like, "Hey, you should maybe introduce him to hockey. It's a good social, socializing with other kids and just." Yeah, because you're quite the wallflower. Yeah, something like that. But then, so then squirts happened, and nobody really wanted to play goalie back then. Everybody wanted to score the goals. Yep. And what I loved about goalie is you never had to come off the ice. So I was always on the ice for the whole entire game. I got to play in every game, and just something about you being the last line of defense. Yeah. And stopping the puck. It's fun to me. Yeah. I don't know. It was fun to me, and I loved it. Well, and I never wanted to come off the ice, You make that save on a breakaway, and like everybody wants to be your friend in the locker room afterwards. Yeah. It's the craziest thing. Yeah. And then it can go the exact opposite way. I remember there was in Pee Wees, we were playing in, I'm not sure if it was regional or not. It wasn't regionals, but I'm not even sure if it was a playoff game. But I remember it was towards the end of the season where I went to play the puck and I went to shoot it off the boards, completely whiffed on it. And it literally like bounced right onto some dude's stick that was about 5 feet to the left of me. And he just shot it right in the net. So it was like trying to explain that one coming back in the locker room. Yeah. not so much. But yeah, when you do make the big stop, definitely.
So you're playing hockey in Hermantown, which for those not familiar, Hermantown it's an underrated powerhouse in Minnesota hockey. I mean, everybody thinks Edina, Roseau, Warroad, those schools, but Hermantown has just as storied of a history. So you wind
I would
up
definitely say so now. I mean, not necessarily when I was growing up. I mean, we were trying to make the name for ourselves. And I remember in Pee Wee's, our coach telling us like we were going to be the ones that were going to put Hermantown on the map. So we had that mentality all the way kind of growing up through Pee Wee's, Bantams, and then obviously in high school. But yeah, we like to think that we were kind of the spearhead of this whole big machine that is Hermantown now. I mean, I go back to Hermantown now. It's so different.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. The hockey's still the same for the most part. But yeah, the city itself is just, it's huge now.
Yeah. I'm going to be up that way end of June. My in-laws live they have a lake home up in the Nashwauk area. And so we're going up there for my son's birthday, but he wants to go to the Duluth Air Show because it's on his birthday. So we're going to make
sweet. Yeah, that's right. That's actually in Hermantown, the airport.
Okay. So we'll be there.
You'll be driving right through there.
Yeah.
You should go to the rink. The rink, it looks super cool. They have, I think, 3 outdoor rinks that's connected kind of right to the main rink.
Cool.
And that to me is what made Hermantown hockey are these outdoor rinks. Because these kids, I mean, they're skating, they'll have practice, right?
Yeah.
And then they skate after practice. And then they're skating out there because it's all free ice.
Yeah.
They Zamboni and everything out there too. So you have kids out there and on the weekends, I mean, after school, holidays.
I think that's true of that whole region because Duluth still has their, Might
and Avon. Yeah. Glen Avon is the last, I think it's the last outdoor rink or outdoor program, I should say. Outdoor program.
They have them up there too. And it's easier than, I mean, even down here in the cities, it doesn't get as cold as long. So they can start the season with outdoor ice.
I mean, I remember it was like, God, it was a while ago, maybe 10 years ago. I remember talking to a kid and he had never skated outdoors. And I'm like, why, you never skated outdoors?
Even I skated outdoors in Chicago.
Huh?
Even I skated outdoors in Chicago.
Yeah, no, I just thought it was crazy. And he's like, why would you skate outdoors when you could skate indoors? I was like, well, I guess. I mean,
it is warmer. I give you that. Yeah.
But I think when you're skating outdoors, right? And especially for forwards anybody besides a goalie, I should say. You're playing on chippy ice. You're learning how to handle the puck, navigating through chaos and playing on horrible ice, which, I mean, let's face it, when you do get into the bigger leagues, college and on from there, the ice is never good towards the end of the game or even towards the end of the period.
I don't know. We had some pretty darn good ice at St. Mary's because of Denny.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
Denny took care of that ice. So you're playing in Hermantown and you make the high school team. And then your senior year, you guys make it to the state tournament.
My junior and senior year we did.
Okay.
My junior year, I didn't really play. I think I only played in like 6 games my junior year. We had another goalie ahead of me named Chris Opel, who was phenomenal. And he got us to the championship game my junior year. Ended up losing to Evelyn Gilbert. Still kind of bitter about that, but it's all right.
Yeah.
And then, my senior year, when I actually got to play, we did make it through and made it to a state tournament. End up playing Benilde St. Margaret's.
Yep.
Benilde St. Margaret's, which we'll go into the story right now while we're actually talking about.
Yeah. Benilde. So Benilde St. Margaret's had a goalie by the name of
David Rogalski. David Rogalski.
Yeah, the current New Jersey Devils goalie coach.
Yes, David Rogalski. If you're listening to this, you need to send me a stick or something. So this guy, and I've told this story so many times. It's actually hilarious. This guy not only ends my high school career.
Well, let's start there and how that ends.
Okay, so how this ends, we meet in the state tournament, and at that time in the state tournament, they didn't do a seeding like they do now, where you have they rank them 1 through whatever, 6. And we end up playing, we got the draw at 7:05 on Wednesday, and we're playing Benilde St. Margaret's. I think we were number 2 in state. They were number 1 at the time. And so this game was actually pretty good. And it ends up going into overtime, 2-2. And I will say this, David, you did make some unbelievable saves in that overtime period. But Troy Riddle, who ends up scoring the GW in OT, ends up, and I'm not sure if anybody has this tape. Hopefully they don't. But obviously, it ends up going through me, 5-hole, which we all know that's a problem child for me. And so we end up losing that game. And I say he ends my high school career because basically in the state tournament, after you lose, and especially in the quarterfinals, I mean, they do have a separate, a consolation bracket, but let's be real, that's pointless. Yeah. Because your whole dream is to win the state tournament, not to just go to the state tournament.
It's so pointless that this year they didn't even have the consolation bracket.
Yeah, and they shouldn't. I mean, honestly, that game, it's played at 9 in? Yeah, over at Ritter Arena. You're so mentally drained and just, you want to play that game because it could be your last high school game, but at the same time, it's just so pointless. So, but what we also have to take away from that loss to Benilde is the very next year, watching the state tournament in Ed's Hall, every time they cut to a commercial break, they use the same clip. And getting scored on a breakaway. And all of us teammates. Every time I see that, it's just one more peg in the heart, man.
And all of us teammates were so sensitive to this that every time they went to commercial, we would look at it and be like, "Oh, are you going to save it this time?" And then they would score like, "Oh, no, it goes in again."
Yeah, just totally tough. And that team, this is, I think, both those teams, my Hermantown team from 99 and that Benilde team, you got to look back at these rosters, dude. Yeah. There was some unbelievable talent on both of these teams, man. And I wish we could, I wish there was a way, that we could go back and, watch these games on YouTube. I wish Channel 45 would I'm not sure if there's a way to get those older games or
I'm sure they're on tape somewhere in their archives.
Yeah. And I know a ton of people that have them on VHS now. Yeah. Good luck finding a VHS.
Yeah. Somebody's got to convert it to, digital file. So Rogalski ends your career in high school.
Yes, his team definitely did that. And he, the thing with Dave with that game too is, God, he played good, dude. He played good, and it's just tough pill to swallow because in that game, and this is why I want everybody to go back and rewatch this game. There was a goal that was called off. Wild fans, you're going to know all about this. But yeah, there was a goal called off in that third period that I don't know. David, maybe you could tell your side of that story someday. There was a disallowed goal that will still haunt us forever.
I've tried reaching out to him, but he's a pretty quiet guy in terms of social media and stuff. So I would love to get his side of it.
That. I actually really respect that.
Yeah, so do I. I know If he's not on the ice, he likes to be out fishing. So
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah. See, this is why it's so tough to even be mad at this kid.
I know.
Such a good job. And this is okay. So let's get back to this.
Yeah. So he ends your high school career.
Yeah. So he ends my high school career.
You go to St. Mary's, and then
to St. Mary's, and I'm thinking St. Mary's, and this is after all that. It took me a long time to get. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not even sure if I'm still over that loss.
Yeah.
But it took me a long time to learn how to cope with losing like that.
Yeah.
And then getting down to St. Mary's, I'm like, fresh start.
Yeah.
I'm going to refocus my energy.
And in the meantime,
back on hockey and get back into this. And
in the meantime, Dave's off playing junior hockey.
Yes. So Dave's off playing junior hockey, which at the same time, that's something that maybe I should have done too, is go to juniors. But at the time I had some family issues with going to juniors. So I end up, just going to college, which is good. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so David, he's off playing at juniors. I go down to St. Mary's and thinking I'm never going to see this kid ever get, I was like, dust in the wind now. Right.
Yeah.
And so what was it? My junior year? Yeah. My junior year. So 2 years of service in there. Junior year, I see this guy. I'm looking down the roster, right? You get it. I'm looking down the roster, seeing who all these new goalies are.
Yep.
And I'm like, I see the Rogalski name, which immediately just starts these bad thoughts, these bad UUB thoughts,
Yep.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, this can't be the same guy, right? This can't be. And sure enough, I see him. I'm like, hey, dude. And I just said, hey, I didn't really want to talk to him much about anything. Because, you're going through tryouts, dude. That's war zone. In it to win it. But just then the more I got to know Dave, the more I actually talked to him, and him and I actually talked about it.
Yeah.
I think he's still, we talked about that disallowed goal, and, I'm pretty sure he's under the opinion that, it should have been disallowed, which the refs called it disallowed. So whatever it is.
Refs get things wrong all the time though.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I mean, we all know how refs can be.
Yep.
But yeah, the more I got to know Dave, the more it's like, God, this guy's actually cool.
Yeah.
And, you'd see him out at the bar or playing foosball. It's like, can't really be mad at this cat. But then, the tryout happens in, I didn't have the best. To be honest with you, I didn't have the greatest tryout. So,
well, and I think by
a lot of this is on me. A lot of this is on my shoulders, but I didn't have the greatest tryout. And I remember going up to Donnie Owen's office, and he was the one who wanted to tell me man to man, which I appreciate.
Yep.
And he's like, you know what, we're gonna keep this freshman Rogalski, and I think we're gonna give him your spot there. Well, and here's I was like, whoa.
Here's the other thing about that junior year. Talk about a tale of two seasons. Freshman year we had 26 goalies try out. Junior year we had 5.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in that tryout, we all knew we had a spot on the roster. So I think there was a little bit of, not necessarily lackadaisical, but it's like, I don't have to go balls to the walls.
No, and that's what it was. And, we're juniors at the time.
Right. We're thinking these guys know who we are because it was me and Greener were the JV goalies.
Yep. Yeah. And just, I mean, I don't know. It's tough to talk about now.
Yeah.
Because at that time it was just so bitter, but
him and S came in.
And Ryan S was really good.
Yeah.
Where did he go to the Angels?
Did he what?
Did he go to Holy Angels in high school?
Yeah, he went to Holy Angels. Now he's got a goalie school, pretty successful here in the city. I checked
it out. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
But and then David came down, and then basically Donnie was like, freshman versus junior, which at the time you're pretty upset, you're pretty upset. But looking back now, it's like, if I'm in that position as a coach, I'm making that same decision.
Right.
Exactly decision. So at the time, very upset. And I actually, that was my last year of hockey. And this is what I'm saying, Joe, you played 4 years of college hockey. This is something that, I will never be able to say. A lot of other guys cannot say they played 4 years of college hockey.
But you got that varsity jacket. That's
it is what it is. You play, it is what it is there.
Yeah.
I think looking back, Joe, I would trade my varsity letters for 4 years.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'll say that much right now. And especially, older guy now. You look back at that; those are precious years that you have in hockey.
Yep.
So anybody listening to this, thinking of, dropping it or whatever, just don't, because you will regret it later.
I don't
it's
complain.
Such a precious time.
I don't complain about my 4 years because I knew I was the bottom goalie on the depth chart because I belonged there. I think it was our first JV practice when Terry had us all look around because so many of us were the big dogs in our own programs. He's like, look around. You guys are all in JV and you're mad about it right now. He's like, keep that, but know your role. Know that each one of you has a role on this team and it's important that you play it. And it's like, I looked around, I was like, I know what my role is. It's to be the number 3 backup JV goalie. So I'm going to.
Yeah. And that's something that I had to learn way later in life, because you're right, Joe. When you are the guy growing up, you're kind of, I don't want to say babied, but you're always kind of pushed, in the right direction, and people are always supporting you. And it's tough the moment you don't get that, the moment you get that pushback, it's tough.
So,
and learning that lesson later on in life is tough for sure. But, as long as you learn the lesson.
Right. And you don't hold the grudges later on. So
no. And I look back at it now, Joe, because there was a time where I was like, man, maybe I should have went to juniors first, and you just never know what can happen from there.
Yeah.
But then you look back, I love St. Mary's. We had nothing but good times there. I made so many good friends. We had so many good times. Those summer camps too. Those were so much fun. It's crazy. People are like, "You're going back to school?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going back to school, but I'm going to."
I'm getting 3 meals a day. I'm getting to skate several hours out of the day, and they're gonna.
And those night skates were unbelievable.
Yeah,
they're pretty good.
We made like $800 a week, but the thing was, you do that for 5 weeks, and you had 0 expenses for 5 weeks.
Yeah, because we didn't. You didn't have to pay for room and board.
You take all that money home. It was that freshman year. Going into freshman year, I worked that hockey camp. I came home, put all my money in the bank, went over to the pro shop, and that's when I bought my Vaughn Legacies I'm still wearing. I bought that.
Oh my God, I saw that. I saw a picture you put on Facebook about that. And you just forget like how old that equipment is. That's vintage. It's vintage now.
It's from the 1900s, literally.
Yes.
So you talk about hockey camp, and I gotta share one of my favorite all-time hockey camp stories. It's turnover day. It's Sunday morning, and Coach Olson's walking this mom and dad and their young hockey player through Benilde to show them the dorms that their kid's moving into. And here is Al, and we're in the Mississippi River Valley in these cinder block dorms with no air conditioning. So you're sleeping with your door wide open, but you're also sleeping in your underwear on top of your covers. You're just passed out like, And Coach
Olson, Joe, you remember how hot that dorm got.
Oh, God, yeah.
And I don't think we had AC, or if we did, it did not work well.
The only air conditioner was in the common room. So there were some of those crossover nights, if there weren't any campers, we would all sleep in the common room.
Yeah, because it was the only place for AC. I remember that now.
I remember Coach O telling us.
Down.
Well, they did tear down Ed's.
That place, and I agree with Ed's being torn down first.
As my wife said, the only thing holding those walls together were the STDs, probably. But so Coach O's walking this family past your room. You're passed out in nothing but underwear, and he comes up. He goes, well, this is Alan, one of our counselors. Looks like he's still worn out from last night's skate, and just quietly closes the door, doesn't wake you up. Did he even say anything to you later?
I don't
that
even.
day?
Yeah, I mean, I remember guys talking about after, but I mean, keep in mind, I was dead asleep.
I remember PT telling the story, and we're just dying at the breakfast because you didn't even make it to breakfast because we're all like, "Where's Al?" And PT's like, "Oh, let me tell you the story."
Yeah. Well, you know, Joe, I needed at least 10 hours of sleep every day.
Oh yeah, easily. Oh, that was
Yeah.
that was a fun year.
Yes.
Yeah, I worked camp every year except between junior and senior year because that's when I had an internship back in Chicago. But consequently,
where was your internship at?
ABC News.
What?
I interned at
How'd you get
ABC
that?
because when I would go home and play pickup hockey at Johnny's Ice House, one of the reporters from ABC would come out and skate with us. And so I got in touch with him and it's like, hey, I want to intern in the sports department. They didn't have it. It was kind of behind the ball. And so ABC gets back to me. They're like, hey, we don't have anything open in sports, but Rob said, if you want, you can intern with him in news. And it was an awesome internship because rat hockey started at like 11 and we usually didn't have to be at the station till like 2. So we'd go play rat hockey, shower up, and then we'd head into the station most days. But it was about second or third week. So Billy Zito, who's the Florida general manager, he was skating with us all the time. He was still a player agent at the time. Yeah. So Billy was skating with us, and some of the guys he represented were starting to come out, but them skating with us wasn't doing them any service. One of the guys that skated with us, he was missing half of his fingers from a construction accident, so he wasn't very strong on his stick. We had Father Murray, a 72-year-old retired Navy chaplain, you know.
Jeez.
Awesome having him out on the ice. He had some of the dirtiest jokes. But it was like skating with him isn't helping. So Zito gets these guys the hour before. And it was like a couple days later, Brad Norton, he was a fighter for LA, comes up to me. He's like, hey, we need a goalie tomorrow. You want to come skate with us? It's like, yeah. And so after that, it was like the rest of the summer I'm skating with them. And I remember I went home and we're at dinner and I go to mom and dad. It's like, hey, I need $15 for tomorrow. And they're like, what? Because usually Rob would buy my lunch because he knew I was working an unpaid internship. And I go, I explained it to him. It's like, yeah, these pro guys want me to skate with them. And they're like, okay. So they start giving me $15 a day to go skate with these guys. And it was about the 4th or 5th day. And I read in the paper that morning that Joe Corvo had signed a new 3-year, $5 million contract. And then he pulls up to the rink in his brand new H2 Hummer. And before practice, he's showing off his new tattoo he just got because of the signing bonus and everything. And after practice, he's complaining about the $15. And I just so happen to be sitting next to him. And I go, you got to be shitting me. At this, the whole locker room goes quiet. I'm the only non-pro player in the locker room. And he's like, what? $15 is a lot. I go, did I read in the paper this morning you signed a new $5 million contract? Yeah. Is that your new Hummer out front? Yeah. It said, I'm working an unpaid internship. You don't hear me bitching, do you? And he just kind of hangs his head and he goes, I got you covered today. But to his credit,
I got you covered today.
He made sure the rest of the summer somebody had my bill covered for the day.
Yeah, and as a goalie, you should be paying Joe.
Well,
dime a dozen, man.
It was funny because Zito wasn't there that day, and then the discussion because Rob Brown was skating with us. He won cups with Pittsburgh and Trotier's teams, and he's like, "Yeah, what is it with him charging goalies? This is BS. He knows better."
Yeah, I mean, we need to start petition. Goalies should never have to pay to play.
Yeah, but yeah, that was a great summer of talk about feeling confident going back into tryouts. And that was another year where we had 7 goalies trying out because it was Rogalski, Greener.
Wait, was this your senior year?
Senior year. Yeah.
Okay.
Then we had this new kid from Omaha, Curtis Nozzle, who wound up being the varsity goalie that year. He started out in JV. And then we had Chris Kegley.
Yeah, what was the Curtis Nozzle story? Where was he from? Did he play
Omaha, Nebraska? I don't think so.
Oh, he's just from Omaha? I thought he played juniors at Omaha.
No, he's from Omaha.
Oh, okay.
And then we had Chris Kegley and who is the other little goofball? Oh, this is gonna bug me.
I can't remember.
But
at that time, was I in? I remember after I quit my junior year.
Yeah.
I went to Italy for a semester.
Yes.
That's what I did. Yeah, that's what I did to try to cope with not playing hockey. Because it was my first time. I mean, think about that. The first time in probably, I don't know, 16 years of something that I hadn't played hockey. So it was just so fun.
Well, I remember
going over there.
That year, Terry called me into the coach's room, and him and Donnie were sitting in there, and they go, "Look, we don't typically do this." He said, "But we're going to keep 4 JV goalies this year. You're going to be the 4th goalie. You're probably not going to get any playing time, but you've given too much to this program to not let you skate one more year." So it's like, I knew going in.
100%, Joe. I mean, like you're saying though, dude, guys like you need to be in that locker room. You really do. I mean, the locker room, and a lot of people don't get it, how much just that locker room atmosphere in the communication locker room, the team bonding that needs to happen in that locker room. I mean, if it's not there, you're not going to win. I'm telling you, you're just not going to win. Or championships, I should say. You're going to win games. Well,
that year, because Augsburg was still hosting the Augsburg Cup, the JV championship tournament, and we wound up winning it that year. Curtis played those games. I think it was either him or Greener. I forget which one. But we wound up winning the game, and me and Scott Becker were the 2 seniors on the team, and so they had us go accept the hardware. They're like, "No, you guys get that." And
that's awesome.
I was looking at that picture not too long ago, because I don't know if you heard, but Becker passed away of a heart attack.
I couldn't honestly believe it when I saw it.
He's such a good person, but he was that quiet leader, and I was more of the vocal one in that locker room as seniors. So it was, he always had that shit-eating grin on his face too. Like, you knew he was getting into trouble without getting into trouble. He was doing stuff, but so they had us. But I still remember sitting in the Augsburg arena, and they only had 1 or 2 shower heads in those locker rooms, still to this day. And so it was going to be a while till I needed to take my shower to get on the bus to head back to Winona. And Terry could tell there was a reason I wasn't taking my equipment off, because it was going to be the last time I took that sweater off. And I'm seeing how many guys are left to still get cleaned up, and finally he looks at me, he's like, "It's time." I was like, "I know." Taking that jersey off one last time was not easy.
It's tough, man, because you just love it so much, right? And just
so I've got some other notes that I've been writing down after our Monday skates when I filled in. So we've talked about some of them. Your new helmet. One of them you wanted to touch about, though, is the Belfort save that is in my opening.
Yes. So I mean, that save
diving across the net.
I will never forget that, because not only, I mean, it was against Sergei Fedorov, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Correct? With his Sergei white Fedorov, Nikes.
Who was at the time, he was the Ovechkin Crosby of the NHL. I mean, people need to remember Sergei Fedorov, who has been erased from, I feel like you play, I'm not sure if you've ever played NHL hockey.
Oh yeah.
Like PlayStation or Xbox. But yeah, he's not like one of the heroes on there. I'm like, how is Sergei Fedorov not on this list?
Yeah, I don't get it.
Crazy.
I still have a pair of the white Nike rollerblades, like the ones.
Oh my God.
They are some of the most comfortable boots I've ever had.
Oh, Sergei Fedorov. But yeah, that glove save. I mean, I just remember. Sorry, I got my puppy here.
Hey, I got the same kind of dog. It's yeah.
But yeah, that glove save, I'll never forget, because I watched that game live, and just seeing it was just so jarring to the mind because it's like a wide open net, and then all of a sudden you just see this Cooper magical glove come out of nowhere. I mean, it has to be, honestly, like when people ask me what's the greatest glove save, that to me is the greatest glove save I have ever seen on TV.
Let's not discount that Cooper Reactor 5 setup he had. It's actually on my phone case. I think that is the greatest all-time looking setup. The way he had it with the black and white with just a little bit of red. It's like, oh.
Yes.
Yeah, that save, I made one like that in a high school spring league game.
No way.
But instead of going to my left, I literally dove straight out like this across the net, and I catch it in the glove. And I remember after the game, one of my teammates is like, that was awesome. How did you do that? And as he's asking me, I'm taking my chest protector off, and I just so happen to be wearing a Superman t-shirt. And he's like, no, you're not. It was like timing couldn't have been any better. He's like, you're wearing that shirt the rest of the spring season when we play. It was just, the funniest. It is kind of funny how superstitious we get, because I don't know if you remember, I wore the same pair of socks for every game.
Yeah.
To the point that the bottoms were worn out.
Yes, like disgusting. I don't know. I hope you burn those things.
I washed them though. It was just they were like
bro.
8-10 years old, and they finally disintegrated.
Yeah, there's no way fabric would even last that long unless there's some crazy stuff on
there. I think it was about junior year that they were finally like, I couldn't even use them anymore, because for a while I had to wear another pair of socks underneath them because it was ridiculous. But I also have that mock turtleneck with the sleeves cut off, the Blackhawks one.
Yep.
I still have that thing and wear every now and then.
Nice.
It's fun. Those are like the things I'm not superstitious.
And Joe, if I'm not mistaken, are you about to get new equipment? Because this is something I actually
working on it. Yeah, I'm working on it. S got me in touch with his equipment.
So let's like getting back to a funny story here. When I took 10 years off of playing hockey.
Yeah. So what brought you back? Let me ask that.
So honestly, what brought me back is a need to start exercising. And you know me, like we were talking about before, I hate running. It's not something I love to do. And I needed to find something that I love to do, but it's going to get me more active.
Yeah, get the heart rate up.
Yeah, get the heart rate going. Because, we're getting older. Yeah. Starting to get conscious about that kind of stuff.
I have less hair than when we played.
True. I have zero still.
Yeah, but you always had that haircut.
Yeah, I've had it for a while. But I took 10 years off, and then coming back into it. And the only reason I even got back into playing goalie is because I wanted to just skate out. Because I wanted the exercise of skating.
Yeah, because you were one of those goalies who you're a left-handed shot regularly. So because of that, you could always play the puck well. Yeah,
which helps. Definitely. And I just got sick of going to all these skates, and we would always have one goalie that wouldn't show up or just couldn't find another goalie. And then once guys started finding out that I was a previous goalie, they're like, dude, just bring the goalie equipment to the rink.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, I don't even have any goalie equipment anymore. Because when I stopped playing my junior year, I don't even think I went down to the locker room to get my stuff.
Really?
I think I just left it all there.
Wow.
If you mind, I just the year before bought brand new pads and
I remember you got it. What pads did you get? You got
I got Bauer reactors because at the time that's what Dominic Hasek was wearing.
Yeah, because you came in with the black ones, and then you got the ones with black and a little bit of red on them.
Yep, exactly. And then I had the Von Vision glove.
Yep.
And the Von Vision blocker.
Yeah, the same gloves I have.
Yep. Honestly, I wish I could find that glove again. I wish.
I remember when that glove came in, Coach Farron, he's like, the effort came with an 18-wheeler. It's so big.
Yeah, it was the greatest glove. It had the best cheater on it.
Yep.
It had the biggest pocket. I mean, I felt like every puck would just magically just roll right into that pocket.
When I get a new glove, I'm going to let so many pucks in my glove side because I'm going to think I have that extra real estate and I don't.
Oh, yeah, Joe. And that's the thing with the new equipment now, it's way smaller.
Well, and you broke in that glove for me because we were sitting there watching the state tournament when it came in, and you were just sitting there going like this with it for, 4 days. And it's like, this is sweet. I don't have to do it. Because that was back when you had to break gloves in. Kids these days don't understand what it was like to have to break in equipment.
I love doing that.
Yeah.
It's getting new goalie equipment, Joe. That's why I'm so excited for you. It's like it's like buying a new car.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's coming. It's gonna happen. I've got the plan in place.
Yeah, but I'm interested to see your transition because this old equipment that you have, the newer stuff now is just so much more loosey-goosey is the best way I can explain it. Like nothing feels connected to your body like it did before.
Right. I mean, we used to
totally different coming back to. And also, I mean, just the what was that?
I was gonna say we used to strap everything as tight as we could, even up top. Everything. It was almost like a tourniquet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I got a little reduced blood flow.
Yeah. No, it was.
Yeah.
But I always felt that made it feel just more like everything was just one to your body. You know?
It was an extension.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Perfect.
That's something that I've thought a lot about. On a previous podcast, I had the fellow that goes by the name Goalie Gear Nerd on Instagram. And he's all about equipment. He knows everything about specs and everything. And we've talked a little bit about what I'll want to do on specs in new Vaughns to not get the same feel, but as close as I can. And the guy that S has connected me with understands that too. And so there's going to be, some specs I have that your average goalie these days would never get. They're going to be softer. I'm going to have the double knee break, because you'd walk into our locker room and every goalie would have their pads like scrunched under so that they were the nice little S, where today they want them perfectly straight.
Yeah. And I think that's a problem. I think honestly, the goalie pads itself, the leg pads are too tall where it's almost, it's hindering your athleticism. I feel at some point, Yeah. And I think that's honestly what goalies need to get back to more, especially with the equipment being shrunken down. And who knows if it's even going to get even smaller, but having more athletic goalies, I guess.
Yep.
Being able to be more athletic within your equipment.
Yeah. Well,
is what I want to say. Instead of just being the blocking, and I get the blocking, and there's definitely times in every single game, every single skate where you have to be a blocking goaltender.
Yeah.
But I just feel like maybe the pads could be a little smaller, not width-wise, but down this way to make you more athletic.
You don't need the 2-inch thigh rise, maybe a 1-inch thigh rise, because you look at some of these goalies and you don't see their breezers at all. But then you look at pictures of Marty Brodeur, even at the end of his career, which was not that long ago.
Yeah.
And there was maybe that much overlap of his pads and his breezers.
Yeah.
But that allowed him to move around unlike any other goalie in the game at the time.
Yeah. And it also, I mean, I'm not sure, maybe it's just me being crazy, but I feel like it shuts the 5-hole down quicker. I'm not sure if that makes any sense.
Well, it does. But it's funny though, because like the whole idea of these rises came from those thigh boards that were under the pads that closed the 5-hole. They made them illegal. So then people started going with the thigh rise. And I remember S was the first one that I knew that had like a 2-inch thigh rise on his original Vaughn velocities. And I tried them once at a intramural game, and it threw me off. Even back then, an extra 2 inches, where it's like when I get new ones, I'm not going over an inch, because I think an inch is nice for closing that gap, especially as I get older and not as mobile.
Yeah.
But 2 inches, it's too much to play the style of game you and I play.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And people people kind of why are you always stacking the pads and stuff like that?
Why not?
But the thing with me is I'm not the big goalie where I can just kind of sit up there, and be like that. I literally, stacking the pads for me is sealing at least a 2 to 3 foot section on the ice, right? Mm-hmm. Right there. If you have the pad stack right there, nothing can get through to you.
Well, you and I are short goalies by today's standards. I'm 5'10", and you're right around that too, if I remember.
5'9".
5'9". Yeah. I got you by a skate blade. So it's like, by today's standards, we're not tall goalies, so we got to play a different game and take away net different way. And I got a low crouch on top of that. Exactly. When I talked to Richie, we were talking about how both of us have those low crouches. I remember when I had Richie on the show, I go, what were your first impressions when you saw me on the ice that, freshman year of mine? And he goes, my first impression was you have a style that is well suited for the beer leagues. He goes, I don't mean that in a bad way though. He's like, I get what you're saying though. It's like, it's just this,
a lot of truth behind that, Joe.
Yeah.
You do, man.
Yeah. It's just
because you're not afraid, dude. You're not afraid to make those cross crease saves.
Yeah.
Stretching. Like, I was in shock. I can't believe how limber you are still.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Well, part of it is just
like part Gumby or something. Because
part of it is regular skates. Just keep skating and staying limber. I still stretch off ice, but yeah.
Oh, see, maybe I need to start doing that. I literally leave my house, show up 5 minutes before, and wonder why I play so horrible.
I don't know. The 2 times we've skated, you played pretty well.
There's times, Joe, where I just sit there and I'm like, to be honest with you, I didn't even see that puck. Like the way the puck comes off the stick now with these, graphite sticks, it's unbelievable. That's why I'm saying there's obviously times to be a blocking goaltender.
Yep.
But I think just mixing in, that athleticism too, which I know these NHL guys. I mean, who's it? Soros or something for the
Predators? Soros.
That's someone I really love.
Marc-Andre Fleury, even though he's playing the Wild right now, you got to appreciate the way he never gives up on a play.
It's so tough, and I love his glove saves, man. I love that he does that windmill right in front of your face. Just to let you know.
On the In Goal podcast, they talk about it, and they go back to, he plays rebound. And playing rebound teaches you to never give up on a save and do whatever you need to. And how many hours did we play that game when we probably should have been in class?
Before we started practice, after practice.
Every practice ended with rebound.
Yeah. And then, me, being backup man, it was like my time to shine.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, those were so, and they would get competitive too.
Dude.
Oh my God.
Like, hey, where's this during the game, guys?
So it's interesting. I was thinking about this the other day. Is to me one of the best parts of the beer league now is that beer afterwards and just talking with the guys. But you can't have that beer, so it's
no, I'm allergic to alcohol.
Yeah, I know. I remember that freshman year when we gave you like half a beer just to get.
Well, yeah, because I'm like, guys, I'm not joking, and I just remember Danny Byron say, "There's no way, there's no way."
Well,
no, dude, I'm being serious.
You were in Austin DeMuth's room, and I remember we gave you a little bit of beer, and it was like 2 sips, and you were already drunk and just laughing. You and Pete Beneke were sitting on that futon.
I never drank, like literally to this day, just never drink. I mean, obviously I wanted to. Actually, the only time I've ever really wanted a beer, honestly, Joe, is on the golf course.
Yeah.
I don't know, just something about drinking beers and golfing, I don't know. Yeah. Something I've always wanted to do.
Yeah, to me, it's a good cold beer after a skate. But then it's just, it's the hanging out after, whether it be in the locker room or in the parking lot. That's what makes beer league, I think.
Yeah, because we're all, that's the thing with hockey, though, is, I mean, the locker room was almost as much fun as the games.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was borderline. I mean, there's times I wish we had a microphone to record some of these conversations. Just borderline comedy sometimes.
It's a good thing we didn't have social media in those days either.
Oh my God, Joe. You know what? My wife and I, Chrissy, we talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
Just thank God. I mean, just imagine. Oh my God.
Yeah. Some of the stuff that went on in those, the pranks. I still remember Wirtz and Reska were having a prank war. And it was during captain's practices. And I sat next to Reska in that JV locker room. And Wirtz comes in, he goes, you got 5 minutes to empty your lockers, otherwise everything's getting wet. And we're like, what? And he goes, I was almost ready to go on the ice. He's like, okay, not a big deal. Wirtz comes in with a giant cooler full of ice water and just right into Reska's locker. Not always everything's soaking, but it's ice cold. Reska comes in, sees it. Well, now he's got to be on the ice in like 10 minutes. So he starts putting his stuff on, and I'm walking behind him on the way to the ice, and you just hear squish, squish, squish. And like his shoulders are sunk and his head's down, just like dejected. He's like, I got to skate like this. I have no option.
Yeah.
And it was shortly after that they decided to call a truce, but I just remember that one. So I think the worst ones, Joe, were the icy hot. Where they were the icy hot in the cup, man. Just the absolute worst. And we had that industrial strength stuff in the trainers.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is that you would get the guys that would literally do it the day before. So then you would come in and it wouldn't be wet or anything. You're like, because you're going through, especially during that time where crap's going on. I mean, you're going through to make sure everything's cool, like nothing's after. The guys that would do it the day before, so it would sit in your locker all night, it would dry up, and then you wouldn't really notice it until about a half hour into the skate. And by that time, it's too late, dude. It's too late.
I liked the one at during camp. Cut the laces like every couple of inches. So as they start pulling, they're like, now they go to pull the whole lace out, and they just get like this much more. That was a nice one. Or taping the gloves together. But inside one big one, it was like a bunch of little strands of tape. That was always a fun one. Then it was always fun to penny lock the kids into their rooms too, if they were being jerks. There were a few of those where Coach O and Terry and Donnie knew how we were picking on these kids that were just horrible. Well, that's how I got the nickname Bondo, was that first year. So that first year of hockey camp, I'm just this kid none of them knew, because, it was all these guys that had worked camp before, because we had a few of the St. Olaf boys coming in. They all had their nicknames, and we would charge the kids $0.25 for swearing. Well, week 2.
I remember that, yep.
Week 2 was so bad, we had enough money to buy a case of beer, a 6-pack of Smirnoff, it was Mike's Hard Lemonade, because that was new at the time. Yeah. And I think there was a bottle of vodka. So we were just sitting it was the rare weekend we didn't have any kids coming early or staying late either. So we're like, we're going to have fun.
Yeah.
And so we were all set up in the common room for the air conditioning and had Tiger Woods going on the PlayStation, as we always had, and we're sitting there playing and drinking, and even though I'm Irish, I had never really been drunk before at that point. So it's like the first time I really got drunk, and somebody's like, let's go bowling, and we're all like, I can't try. And then PT comes walking in, because he was the head counselor, so he had paperwork and stuff, so he was still sober. He's like, well, I can drive. So then we start piling into the car, and it's just this little bitty car, and we're like, we don't have enough room. How are we going to get Bondo there? And the door is open, and I just go, leave the door open, boys. I start running. I dive headfirst across their laps, and the windows are open. So PT closes the door. My feet are hanging out the window as we go down the hill to the bowling alley. But so we get checked in. I'm putting my shoes on, and Stinny looks back at me, just glass-eyed. He goes, hey, you got a nickname? I go, no, because he was just putting nicknames into the computer. Turns around, he's just looking at the computer, and he turns around and he goes, Bondo, I like it. So like, when we were like, what's the meaning of your nickname? It's like drunk bowling. That's the only, and like, we didn't think anything of it. And we're all walking across the rec the next morning to pick up our binders and everything. And we're just, all of us have sunglasses on. We're in tough shape. And Coach O, Donnie, and Terry are on the catwalk. They're like, hey, fellas, did you have a good evening? Or like, yeah, it was fun. And then they're like, and then Donnie was like, what about you, Bondo? And we're all like, huh? And it just stuck. And I remember sophomore year on, Terry would put on the practice sheet during tryouts, Joe Bondo.
Joe Bondo.
And I think it was sophomore or junior year. I was looking at the final roster with Russ Swanson.
Yeah.
And Coach O put my real name on there, Drennan. He's like, who's this Drennan kid? It's like, dude, that's me. He's like, no, it's not. Your name's Joe Bondo. It's like, no, it really is. I had to pull my license out to prove to him that my actual name was not Joe Bondo.
Oh my God. Joe, you know what? One thing I remember, like, do you still drink a ton of milk?
Not like I used to. No, I used to get 6 glasses every day.
Yeah, I was just like, this dude's bones are never going to break with how much milk this guy drinks.
No. In fact, I drank so much that I had to cut back because
it was like wasn't it? It was like every meal though.
Yeah. Just a row
like
of
every
milk glasses. Well, what's funny now is my daughter's lactose intolerant, so we only have almond milk in our house.
Yeah.
It's like how times have changed. So I'm being considerate of time because I know we can go all day. So I don't know how many episodes you've listened to, but I like to close out with a list of 10 rapid fire questions. And I know these are going to add to more stories. So I'm going to get started. What's the craziest coaching moment from your playing days?
Oh,
aside from Terry coming in wanting to chew.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say that was probably number one. Man, we're going to have to come back to that because I really need to think about that. There was quite a few. There's, one literally sticks out is I remember, I can't remember if so it's like my freshman year when we lost, I think it was like 8 or 9 games in December. And I just remember being in the locker room and Coach O, like I'd never seen the dark side of Coach O before because freshman, he was always super nice. I guarantee he was just, doing that to be a good guy. Yeah. But the moment I saw the hat come off, I was like, whoa, Coach O's serious here. Yeah. But that was, oh man, I'll never forget that. But at that time he needed to do something. Oh yeah. Yes. I mean, you can't lose that many games in a row.
Yeah. That one, Terry told me I was supposed to be called up at that time.
Yeah.
To help shake things up. But that was right after break. And I had my wisdom teeth got infected and I had to have them pulled. So not only did I miss getting called up to varsity, but I missed 2 games that I was supposed to start on JV because I had to have my wisdom teeth pulled, but before they could get pulled, the infection had to clear up and I was in rough shape. I still remember when Terry caught me sneaking sandwiches out to the bench during JV games and my breezers. He's like, because I would just, kind of sneak to the side, eat them. And he's like, what do you have? It's like sandwiches. He's like, do you have another one? Yeah. Well, can I have one? Yeah, that was an amusing time.
Oh,
were you at the game when we were playing Shattuck? Well, it would have been our sophomore year, so we were playing at Shattuck, and Mike Walsh, Grandpa Walsh, he and I played high school hockey together. But Terry, we were losing, and Terry's like,
hold on, I had totally forgotten about that guy until you mentioned him right there.
Yeah.
Miss that dude.
Yeah, Grandpa. He was something else. But I remember Terry's like, if you lose all these high school kids, no French fries on the way home. And Grandpa winds up getting that breakaway where he scores the goal, and he just comes back to the bench, sits down, and he goes, nobody fucks with my French fries. Nobody fucks with my
French fries. Yeah. Oh, dude, I remember that trip too because that team, I think we should look back at who was on that.
Yeah,
because I don't think if we would have lost that team, it would have been such a horrible thing.
No, because I mean that was the time that Taves and Crosby were there.
Yes,
and there were a couple others. But do you remember they were renovating the visiting locker room so we didn't have showers, and they're like, "Oh, you guys can use our showers before you go," but we had to walk across the rink, and we walked across. Well, half of us walked across in our towels. As all these little high school girls are out there, and then Terry had to come in the room. He's like, whoever still has to shower has to walk over there and close.
Yes. Forget that we're on a high school campus.
We're like, I didn't think about it. It didn't bother us.
Dude, that's cool. I forgot about that Shattuck game.
Well, because we played them in our barn like 2 weeks prior, and we beat them. It was still a close game. I mean, good hockey players, obviously, but then we went to their barn and we're like, we can't lose to these guys.
Yeah, we're not losing to a high school team. I just remember having that conversation. We're not losing to a high school team.
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
let's get real.
Yeah. So, okay. So those are some good ones. What's your favorite all-time goalie mask?
My favorite all-time goalie mask? Ooh, probably John Casey's 1991 North Stars.
That's a good one.
Because I'm a huge North Stars fan.
Yeah.
Obviously, John Casey was one of my idols growing up.
Well, and it's so simple, too.
It was simple, and just the stars, the black, the yellow, the green.
Yeah.
Love that mask.
Yeah.
And I would say probably you remember a guy by the name of Felix Potvin?
I hate Felix Potvin because he was a Hawks killer. Well, I respect
Potvin,
him now.
When he played for the Toronto Maple Leafs, he had a sweet, dude, that helmet was awesome. That was the first time ever. I think he wore Warwick, if I'm not mistaken. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I think he wore a Warwick.
That Warwick helmet. Oh, that's something that is, if I could get a hold of a Warwick helmet now.
They still make them.
Yeah, but aren't they super expensive?
Yeah. Danny Byron had one. He had a Warwick helmet with a Miska paint job. I was like,
Yes, he had the sweetest. Danny Byron had the sweetest helmet.
Yeah, cake eater from Edina.
Yep.
No, I think I had the sweetest St. Mary's helmet, but I'm biased. Is it sitting over there over my shoulder? But what I liked about it was the simplicity of mine. Byron did have a cool one. Richie had a cool one too.
Yeah, but didn't Dan? He had like the chrome cage, and I don't know. It just, and at that time, chrome was just kind of coming out. Like he had chrome before everybody went to chrome.
Yeah, and I just remember how light that mask was too.
Yeah. Oh, it was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Those. So, what is your favorite rink that you've played at?
My favorite rink ever?
Yeah.
Ever that I've ever played at? Ooh. I would say, man, nothing will really beat the old Civic Center. So
with the clear boards.
Yeah. So, but when we were there, so in '98 was the very last tournament they had at the old Civic Center.
Yeah.
And that probably has to be one of the coolest rinks I've ever skated at. Personally, myself.
How was it tracking pucks with those clear boards? I've always wondered.
No, at the time it wasn't clear boards. So they had the clear boards.
Okay.
This is like back in the late 80s and early 90s. And then they went to regulation boards.
Okay.
But just the that is such an historic building to me.
Yeah. Just
because I grew up, idolizing these guys that went to the state tournament and just being like, I want to do that at some point in my life.
Yep.
And then to be able to physically play at that arena that I watched it in, because then the next year they bulldozed it and now we have XL Energy Center.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's probably one of the greatest rinks ever too.
Yeah, well, I would say Chicago Stadium.
Chicago Stadium, where are you talking the ones where you had to walk up the stairs to get to the rink?
Yeah.
Or are you talking United Center?
No, the old Chicago Stadium.
Yeah,
that place was awesome.
Yeah, and that place got loud, dude.
Oh,
watching playoff games. Ooh. That place was crazy.
I only got to go to a few Hawks games there, but man, I still remember the first Hawks game. I told this one to Eddie Belfour. We're there the last year of the old stadium.
I still can't believe you interviewed him, dude.
Yeah,
that's unbelievable.
Him and Dane were pretty awesome.
Yeah. I still wish you brought up the save. I mean, dude,
I got my
of all time.
I got my Belfour whiskeys right over there that he sent with the.
He did send it. Nice.
Yeah. But I still remember it was New Year's Eve, the last year in the old building, and I was so excited. I was going to get to see Eddie Belfour play live in person. And Jeff Hackett comes walking up the stairs, and I was so mad. And he was like, I was probably mad too, because I wanted to start every game.
Yeah. That was the one game he probably didn't start.
Yeah. I did get to see him like a week or two later when I went back with a buddy of mine for a game, but it was like, oh, what a place.
Yeah, that's
so loud with that Oregon just jumping.
Yeah, I wish. I mean, those old Joe Louis Arena.
Yeah.
I mean, Chicago.
Not
so much the Met Center, but
yeah, I've heard good things about the Met Center though. But
I saw one game in there. It wasn't anything special.
Yeah,
it wasn't anything special.
Yeah.
I'm happy that we have XL Energy now.
For me, I do have to say one of my top two rinks, so it has to be at St. Mary's rink, just because of all the memories. You know. Yeah.
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
I remember going there. Remember coming out there and we had the guys holding the lights and what song was that came out? I should know this. Jeez. What was it?
Alien Ant Farm or something? Because I started doing the music, I think our junior year. And I
change. I know that much, but I can't remember what that song. But every time I hear that song now, it's what I think of is stepping out on that St. Mary's ice.
Yeah. So when I started doing the music, I always had it is "Start Me Up" when the team took the ice, because my wife told me that's what they played when the North Stars took the ice. I was like, okay, I'll have a nice little nod to these North Stars fans. Although the first time the refs came out and I played, because back then we still had three officials on the ice, not four, and I played three blind mice. And Coach Olsen started laughing because he said they skated over to the bench with smiles on their face. They go, okay, who gets the bench minor for this one? And all three coach, they all point over to me. And the official in charge that night, he goes, never stop doing that. That's great. Yeah, it was kind of fun doing music for those games. Yeah. So what was your favorite all-time stick that you used as a goalie?
My favorite? Oh, that's a great one. Actually, I just literally talked about this with a buddy, and it has to be for me, has to be the Coho. Do you remember that Coho
those
stick?
Blue Cohos we had that freshman year?
Oh, those were by far my favorite stick.
Yeah, they were too short for me.
Yeah, that's why I loved them. That's why I loved them.
Yeah.
The only problem with it, though, is you remember if you took a slap shot,
they shattered.
A little up on the heel, just a hard slap shot, the stick was done.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, according to Coach Farron, that's because he had probably ordered them 5 years prior, so many of them that they were probably dry rot, just sitting in the stick case.
And that's, yeah, that's obviously why I was probably using them.
Yeah, but
how I was literally going through a stick. And this was one of the greatest things at St. Mary's is you got free sticks. It was unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't imagine today. I'm not sure today if they do get, I mean, I can't imagine. That's got to be so expensive for that equipment now.
Yeah. Well, and the sticks, I remember going into summer break, he would sell us sticks too. It was like 3 for $20.
Yeah.
Which I was the only one using I was the only one using the Christians our senior year, and there were like 6 left, and I gave him my $20, and he's like, just take the rest of them. I was like, $20 for a half dozen sticks? Sweet.
What's going on here?
Yeah. I was like, I'll take that deal any day. Now I'm still cheap. It's like $100 for a foam core stick. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. I can't believe some of the prices on those sticks, Joe. I saw a goalie stick for $300.
Yeah.
How is this even? Who's paid for this? And how can people afford this?
Yeah.
hockey move forward with $300 goalie sticks.
Yeah, and they wonder why numbers are starting to dwindle, and they can't. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I feel like there's a goalie shortage. I've heard like goalies playing on two different teams during the season.
Yep.
Like, how can you play on two different teams? That's insane.
But I mean, your homework.
Unbelievable opportunities for those goalies to play in that many.
Oh God, yeah.
That much rubber.
Absolutely.
Nice.
So, what's your favorite youth hockey memory?
My favorite youth hockey memory will forever be my buddy who's running Francisco Hockey. He scored a overtime goal, and this was in Pee Wees, so we're just kicking off Hermantown hockey here, though. But he scored an overtime goal to kick us into the regional tournament, and at that time, we had never been to regions, which to us was like our state tournament, basically.
Yeah.
And him to score that goal and the celebration, just the locker room, just the good memory for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
See, I hate this Apple Watch because I get text messages and then I'm like, who's that? That comes up on my watch. After that, so what is the best chirp you've heard on the ice, off the ice, directed at you, not directed at you? Best one you've heard?
Best chirp. Ooh. Man, I'm not sure. Ooh. Some of those I cannot say on this podcast for rated wise.
Yeah.
Oh man, I would say, I don't know. I didn't know Koreans could play hockey, I guess. This is after I probably made like 35 saves. A guy just came up to me at the end. This is in like an AJ game too, by the way. So
nice.
But he just came up to me. He's like, dang. Didn't know Koreans could play hockey.
That's funny. One of the best answers I've heard to this one was from David Hutchins of in goalie. His son's goalie coach looked at him and said, "You must be really good at dodgeball." I was like, okay, that is pure gold right there.
Yeah.
So
no, here's another one too. So man, it was like this was like, we had those scrimmages, right before the final cut, right?
The red white game.
Yeah. That's what it was.
Yeah. That was one of my. I just
remember, I think I'm not sure if it was Kegley or if it was Ryan Holland that came by, and I was struggling to do it. I told you I had just a horrible tryout, right?
Yeah.
He just skates behind that. He's like, you're supposed to stop the puck right before it crosses that little red line behind you. I'm just like you.
Yeah, that was. I remember when Terry and Donnie called me into the coach's room to tell me, hey, we're gonna keep you, but you're gonna be the backup. And then they said, by the way, you're starting the red white game. You've earned it. I was like, sweet. So mom and dad came in for that one. Nikki was already transferred to St. Kate, so she came down for the weekend.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I totally forgot that she Man, your senior year?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, she had to be closer to home to be near doctors and stuff. But I still remember, hearing Corey Phelps was doing the announcing at the time. The old volleyball coach, and it was, and now starting in goal, senior from Chicago, Illinois. It was like, hearing that was pretty cool to at least hear it once. And then I remember after I played my first period, and me and S are, standing side by side on the benches. He's on the red team, I was on the white team. He's like, dude, why did you have to get engaged so early in your school career? Now we can't go out and to the bars together. It's like, dude, you're looking at it all wrong. He's like, what do you mean? It's like, I'm the ultimate wingman. I have no problem going up, saying hi, have you met my friend Ryan? And like, you don't have to worry about me getting in the way. He's like, dude, we're going out to the bars after the game. And he's like, Mom and Dad are in town. It'll have to be next weekend. All right, you're on.
You're on.
Yeah. That was a fun one. It's funny because in the same spot, we were playing one of those junior B teams, and they always wanted to fight, but we never did.
That's what I'm saying. Those junior B games were some of the roughest hockey I've ever seen in my life.
But they always wanted to fight, and we never did. And one of the goalies looks at me, he's like, so do you guys not fight because you're a Catholic school? And I look at him and go, no, we don't fight because we're wearing cages, you idiot. And he goes, yeah, I suppose that makes sense.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Yeah, it was like, oh, yeah, I suppose. And I kind of looked at him and I said, well, I guess that's why I'm playing college hockey and you're not right now.
College hockey had way stricter rules on fighting.
Oh, yeah, you fight, you're suspended.
Yeah, it was crazy. In juniors, you fight, you get a penalty, and you can come back.
Yeah, you get an extra beer at your locker after the game,
exactly.
You know. Which leads me to the next question. I'm going to change it because usually I ask what's the worst post-game beer, but as we mentioned, you can't have one. What's the worst post-game drink for you?
The worst post-game drink for me would probably be a beer. Ironically.
Well, yeah, because you wouldn't be able to get home. You'd need somebody to drive you after that first sip.
They have to watch me, take care of me.
Nice. Yeah. When you tape your stick, do you go heel to toe or toe to heel?
When I tape my stick, I actually go, what I do, whatever the pattern, so it goes against the grain of the puck when you're shooting it. That's what I do. So if that's toe to heel, I think. Yeah, I think it's toe to heel. I'm not sure. But whatever, you know what I'm talking about? So you have the friction against the puck.
Yeah.
Comes off the stick. Yeah.
I do, but I've never paid attention for that reason because I've never been good at playing the puck.
Yeah, and here's the reason why I don't really know, because I don't buy brand new sticks anymore. I go to Plastic Sports and just buy like a $20 wood or whatever the best I can get for $20, and that's that's what I'm using.
Yeah. So I've never been very good at playing the puck, but do you remember our first game at Gustavus? And I'm playing, and do you remember Gustavus was a much smaller rink, and we go from our Olympic rink to Gustavus where there's probably this much room behind the net. Yeah. And the first time that puck is rung around, I get that push I'm used to getting to get to our boards. I bounce off the boards and come away, and the puck goes right by me. And I look at the bench, and Terry's just laughing. He goes, I forgot to tell you something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked playing at that rink, though. There's just something about it with the elevated stands above the glass and the fact that they had the spit guard over the penalty box.
Yeah. Did you ever go to St. Olaf? Do you remember St. Olaf's barn? Because this was the place where you couldn't actually dress at the rink. They bust you.
Yeah, I didn't go there.
To the actual rink.
They got a new rink though now.
Oh, they do? They needed one, obviously. That was my just another quick story. That was kind of my, oh my God, this is Division III hockey right here. Yeah. What I was, because you go to St. Mary's and everything's nice. You have the locker rooms, everything looks normal, right?
Yeah, we had.
I'm pretty sure it was St. Olaf, but you go to St. Olaf.
Yeah. It was.
And it was. I'm pretty sure they had chicken coop wire, instead of netting up on top. It was just.
Well, I remember in the summertime, Goldie would always talk about what a dump it was. He's like, but it's our dump, he'd say.
Yeah, at that point, it's like, why aren't we just playing outside?
Yeah.
We should just be playing outside.
Yeah, we did have a pretty nice setup. I even remember when we'd go play St.
So I'll have to take a look at this then. I would love to see their new rink.
Yeah. I remember when we'd even go play St. John's, their JV team didn't even play at the same rink as their varsity team.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they played.
Where'd they play?
Some community rink.
I remember going to the Hippodrome, or the Coliseum is where. No, we played.
You're thinking Hamlin. Hamlin and St. Thomas played at the Coliseum at that time.
Yeah, but the thing with the Coliseum, awesome rink, right?
Yeah.
It's not awesome when you only have 2 people in the stands.
Right. Yeah. It's awesome when it's
If you want
packed.
to talk about an echo chamber, it was just, you could hear just the slap shot would just echo.
Yeah. Well, the night that Trotch had to babysit me because of my concussion, they were playing Hamlin. And I remember we get there and I'm looking at their banner and it's the Fighting Pipers and the logo they had at the time. And like, I'm just going off like, Fighting Pipers? Who's scared of a Piper, yet alone a fighting one? Like, just, and Hamlin was bottom of the barrel of the MIAC at that time. Which, speaking of which, did you see the baseball team won the MIAC championship last night? They beat St. Thomas in their St. Thomas's last Division III game to win the.
Wait, who did? Hamlin?
The St. Mary's baseball team won the MIAC championship. Yeah,
that's awesome.
First time they've ever done that.
That's good, and I love that was their last game in Division III. Will be a loss
to St. Mary's.
That's awesome.
Did you see who's coming back to coach the softball team?
No, who?
John Cheetah, the guy that led them to the national championship and then left for St. Thomas. He said he doesn't want to coach Division I, so he came back to St. Mary's.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
He was you were in Ed's our freshman year. He was our.
I was not. I was in. Griffin.
Oh, that's right. You were just always in.
But Christy, she lived in Ed. So
so you lived in Ed's. Yeah, because you were roommates with Palmer and Newski. So I almost wound up your roommate freshman year because my roommate, I woke up too many times to him with other people in our room. And so I went to the hall directors, like, something's got to give here. Well, this kid wound up getting moved out of the school to begin with. But Richter had it. I was going to move it because you guys technically had a quad for a room, but there were only 3 of you. So he's like, well, there's a couple of hockey players in there. He had it. I was going to move in with you guys.
Yeah, you should have, man.
Considering Palmer's still one of my good buddies today, and Newski. Probably better that I didn't in the long run. So next question, we're almost done. What's your favorite number to wear and why?
Number 30, for sure, by far. That was my number. And that is honestly because of John Casey. Number 30. John Casey, by far, one of the greatest goalies to ever come out of Minnesota.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm just going to say it. He is the greatest goalie to ever come out of Minnesota.
It's a pretty good argument there. So the last question is, what advice do you have for young goalies?
What advice? I would definitely say to, first of all, never, ever, ever, ever give up on anything. Secondly, you got to be a warrior. Being a warrior, having that mentality, it starts up here, right, Joe? Yep. I mean, goaltending is all up in here. So having that mental strength, working on that, it's something I'm very big into. Yeah. Because everybody can play the position. Everybody can do all the fundamental things, right? But it's second advantages that you have, the mental power.
Yeah. Not everybody can shake off that goal.
Yeah. Being able to overcome, for example, just the other day, Marc-Andre Fleury, he gets scored on twice, right? Yep. Everybody's thinking this game's over. I can't wait. We're going to kill Vegas. Well, what happened?
Minnesota's planning their parade.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the final score wasn't it like 6-2 or 5-2.
Well, the headline was amazing in the newspaper. Wild take 3-0 lead to lose 5-2.
Yeah. Yeah, that was depressing. I mean, obviously, I'm a huge Wild fan too.
Yeah.
I really don't like the way this series is turning out. I mean, I know a lot of people are like 2003. Yeah, that was 2003, and we are not that team. We're not wily veterans. We're very young and talented.
I do like what Guerin's doing with this team, though.
I love it, dude. I love it 100%. It's something we need to do probably before the Parisi-Suter trade.
Yep. Yeah, he's definitely got him going in the right direction. Yeah, that's for sure. And he's not afraid of whose feelings he hurts by, getting guys benched or anything like that. It's like, no, I don't care. We got to do this for the good of the team. not your ego. So, Al, I appreciate it. I knew we'd go over the typical hour I typically go, but I don't care.
Yes.
I know when we skate again, we'll probably have more stories to tell. And
that's the thing with this, Joe. I know there's going to be 100 other things after this. I could be like, why didn't I pick that up? But
yeah, well, and that's why I want to get S on. We've been going back and forth. I had him scheduled, and then he got COVID, and he had to get back to coaching all his goalies afterwards. So he's like, Mike, I got to focus on what's making me money first. He's like, I totally get it. So I want to get him on, and then I want to get in touch with Rogalski. Maybe summertime will be better for him.
Oh man,
talk to him. I got to get his side of the story.
Yeah, definitely. I would love. We should have a roundtable discussion of.
Well, ultimately, that's what I want to do, because I can get in touch with Frischman. I could probably track down Byron, get a couple of us on there, and Donnie said he's game.
Donnie O?
Yeah. No, Donnie Neto, yeah.
Neto, okay.
Yeah.
God, I love that man.
Yeah, he's a treasure to the St. Mary's community for sure.
He's actually, you know what? We got to do him respect now. It's HOF.
Yes. Yes. Well, and
HOF, Donnie Neto.
And he and I talked a little bit about that when I had him on, because he had already found out he had been he was being inducted, but he hadn't been inducted yet. So yeah, well deserved.
Yeah,
absolutely. Definitely one of the mentors I had while I was there.
Put in so much time there. I mean, the thing with coaching, and especially with a guy like him, man, is, here I am, 40 some years old. I will never forget him. Ever.
Yeah. Yep.
Same thing with Donnie, same thing with Terry. You just don't forget your coaches like that.
Yeah.
So
I would love to track down Terry, and even though the podcast is goalies, every once in a while I have somebody who's not a goalie. I'd love to have them on the podcast to ask them, what were you thinking with us?
Have you
with
actually,
our group?
You know what, Joe? Who's the new coach now? Who's the new coach?
Oh, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I keep getting the emails from the alumni team.
I can't remember. I kind of, after Donnie left, I was just kind of checked out of St. Mary's hockey. But then, it was a couple of years ago, I was just like, I wonder how these cats are doing now.
Yeah.
And I think this new coach is pretty good. So.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to build the program up to what we've always wanted it to be. And every now and then I'll take in a game when they're playing at like Bethel or something at the Super Rink.
Joe, next time, call me. I'll go with you. I would love to go see St. Mary's hockey game with you.
Yeah. Sure. Next time they play in Bethel or even Augsburg, we'll have to get a few of us together. I can get Emmons to come. I'm sure we can get Newski and some of the other fellows out there.
I love it, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, bud, I appreciate you being on, and it's been fun. It's always fun talking to you. I'm so happy we were able to connect to skate and, kind of rekindle the friendship.
Yeah, it was crazy, Joe. I mean, we hadn't talked to each other in years, man. And I remember seeing you. It was like, dude, just like never left.
It was like, the
craziest thing. I was telling Christy, I'm like, it feels like I just was talking to him the other day. It's weird.
Yeah. Next time I'm invited out for Monday night, I'm going to have to, I still have my red, white, reversible St. Mary's practice jersey. I might have to wear that. Yep.
Dude, that's a collector's piece.
Yeah, it's pretty tight. It has a rip in the shoulder, which it always had. But I may have to break that one out next time.
I think with mine, I just ended up tearing just the red piece out and just wore that. Because I hated how that thing was heavy.
Yeah.
That jersey was heavy because it was two basically into one.
Yeah, it was two. And even though they were like these cheap, breathable jerseys, because it was two, they didn't breathe very well. They got super wet.
No. I mean, you've held a jersey now. I mean, whatever that material it's made of, those things are light. I mean, everything unbelievably light.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even when you sweat, I mean, it's a whole nother thing.
Yeah. Well, I got some stuff I got to get done here in the yard this afternoon. And like I said, I know we're going to continue the conversation later. So
definitely, buddy.
Yeah. Thanks again. I appreciate it. I'm glad we were able to finally get it done.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on. Definitely recollecting on some of these old stories, man.
Yeah.
It's been too long.
thank Chrissy for getting the technology side of it figured out for you. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Well, have a good one, my friend. We'll be in touch.
You too, buddy. Take care.
Bye now.
Bye.
Al and I could have talked for hours, sharing stories of our playing days, recounting the old SMU days, and just talking about the game we both love. When I started the podcast, we talked about having him on as a guest. We tried scheduling it a few times, but life got in the way and we had to reschedule. So I was excited to actually get to record this week with him. I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as we both did. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube simply by searching for Washed Up Goalie, and I'll pop up. Visit washedupgoalie.com for some great hockey-related content, my beer league hockey video highlights when I'm able to find a skate these days, and of course, all podcast episodes. If you want some Washed Up Goalie or Tendy Talk apparel, be sure to visit my Threadless shop by clicking the merchandise link on my website. If you like this podcast, go listen to the BLPA Big Show. It's the OG BLPA Podcast Network show. The BLPA Big Show is a couple of beer league players chatting about beer league hockey, draft experience shenanigans, and exploits from around the game. The show is hosted by Nick Jones and former Tendy Talk guest Trish Dangle. Other co-hosts will fill in occasionally when they have somebody lined up as well. I need to thank the band The Zambonis for allowing me to use their music on my podcast. You can download their music on iTunes or listen wherever you stream music from. I'm working on lining up other goalies to talk to. If you are a goalie or have connections to a goalie who I should talk to, shoot me an email at washedupgoalie39@gmail.com or send me a DM on social media. Let's not forget, if you're a brand who wants to sponsor the show, be sure to reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk. And finally, if you like what you hear, be sure to subscribe, rate, and comment on the podcast platform you're listening on. It's a quick action on your part that helps others find Tendy Talk. Until next time, keep your stick on the ice and your body square to the puck.